You're listening to The Scoop on Ultrasound, where the world of ultrasound imaging comes alive through dynamic conversations. This episode is brought to you by EDM Medical Solutions.
In this episode, we're joined by Dr. Robert Klempfner, a leading expert at the intersection of AI and ultrasound. With over 26 years of experience in cardiology, Dr. Klempfner serves as the director of the Cardiac Rehabilitation and Prevention Institute at Sheba Medical Center and the Israeli Center for Cardiovascular Research. He's also the chief medical officer of AISAP, an AI startup transforming bedside ultrasound diagnostics. A pioneer in digital health with over 115 publications, Dr. Klempfner is here to share his insights on how AI is reshaping point-of-care ultrasound. Quality supplies make a difference. At EDM, our mission is to help you enhance patient care. For over 30 years, we have been a leading supplier of medical imaging products and accessories. It all started with one product, Crystal Ultrasound Gel. And now our catalog includes over 300 products designed to support your practice. From probe covers to needle guides, EDM Medical Solutions is the partner of choice for over 2,000 healthcare facilities in the U.S. Learn about our range of ultrasound solutions on our website by visiting us.edm-imaging.com.
Welcome back to The Scoop on Ultrasound. Today we're exploring a topic that's not just futuristic, but also transformative: how artificial intelligence is reshaping the future of point-of-care ultrasound. AI is no longer just a buzzword. We know that it's becoming a powerful tool in healthcare. It's offering the potential to enhance diagnostics, it's improving workflows, and much more. But what does this mean for clinicians themselves and patients and the future of medicine? In this episode, we're going to be unpacking those questions and more with an expert who's at the forefront of this intersection between AI and ultrasound. Our guest today is Dr. Robert Klempfner, who has over 26 years of experience in internal medicine and cardiology. He serves as the director of the Cardiac Rehabilitation and Prevention Institute at Sheba Medical Center, home to the largest and most advanced cardiac rehab program in the Middle East. Additionally, he is the director of the Israeli Center for Cardiovascular Research. Dr. Klempfner is also an associate clinical professor of cardiology at Tel Aviv University and the chief medical officer of AISAP, an innovative AI startup revolutionizing bedside ultrasound diagnostics through machine learning. Beyond his clinical roles, he is a pioneer in digital health and cutting-edge research with over 115 publications in leading journals and active involvement in numerous studies leveraging machine learning and telemedicine. He has a passion for advancing healthcare through innovation, and he's here to share his insights on the transformative role of AI in point-of-care ultrasound. Dr. Klempfner, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for this generous introduction.
So let's jump right into this topic of AI and ultrasound, because as AI rapidly advances, we're seeing it impact nearly every corner of healthcare. And that's not just in the US, it's in many countries around the world, in sonography, in other clinical areas too, such as emergency medicine, radiology. It really is everywhere. So from your perspective, what are some of the most promising applications of AI within diagnostic imaging specifically?
Right. So I think most importantly, the AI has the ability to improve our diagnostic performance. So physicians using AI are more accurate. Their sensitivity, specificity, the inter-observer variability of physicians using AI is better. It's not AI alone, it's a physician using AI can work at the top of his performance. He is more empowered to do more clinical work because the AI can take part of the administrative overhead, which we don't like, and it can facilitate filling of forms and reports and work that an AI can do perfectly well, and it gives us more time for clinical decision making, not just interpreting a chest X-ray, but thinking beyond that on the entire clinical scenario and required next steps, which are the things that still the physician has the great advantage. And the AI can assist in providing us more time to do that. And we are seeing now even interesting applications of AI in education. So using AI to help train faster, better online simulations and so forth. And of course, there will be tools that will integrate imaging with multiple other modalities. So integrating imaging with results from pathology or from lab work and having a more comprehensive understanding.
Right. So there's gains in time, definitely in efficiency from what you're describing, right? In terms of the reporting as well, right? Is this there's a lot of applications when it comes to how succinct we can make reports and whether it can assist radiologists, for example, in making these faster, right? And in a lot of other things that you just mentioned. Now, those gains in time, then you also believe, I'm assuming, would lead to gains in cost efficiency, right?
Right. So definitely being more efficient, it means you can do more. And the AI system can obviously prioritize what you need to do first. And we want to touch the patients that need the most immediate care. We want to be there first. And by having these tools that not only improve our performance, they prioritize what we're doing, they highlight what we should do or what we might miss because we are sometimes tired. And of course, taking a lot of the things that we didn't go into medicine to fill out forms.
Right.
And we want to make the clinical decisions and we want to work at the top performance, regardless if it's at 1 o'clock at night.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and do you think that in addition to physicians, there are applications to assist other clinical roles, for example, nurses, perhaps that want to use ultrasound? Do you think there's a sort of democratization that can occur in healthcare, expanding the users beyond perhaps just the sonographer, but not necessarily to eliminate the sonographer, but rather to even assist sonographers, right? To be able to go faster. Do you think there's also definitely applications there?
There are a couple of companies that are in this field of helping non-sonographers to, for example, obtain images from patients with tools that navigate the users, and AI-based navigation is one pathway. Education-based on training personalized to the specific trainee. It's different pathways. There might be pathways into combining robotics with AI in imaging, and that's also there are companies exploring that. So there are a lot of very exciting directions. And ultimately, I think each of these technologies will find its specific niche because the need for imaging is huge. And I separate that there are two really big different types of need. The specialists need some type of assistance, and it's a bit different from the non-expert that uses imaging more and more. So when an ED physician looks at a chest ray, it's not the same support needed to an expert in radiology that's doing this day in, day out.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, let's talk a little bit more about point of care ultrasound, right? Because this is something that has emerged as a critical tool, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. It was very accelerated, right? Due to the ability to just do that bedside ultrasound, not have to move the patient
Sure.
over to the imaging suite. And so, in what ways do you see AI sort of enhancing that accessibility, speed, the accuracy too of tools like the point of care ultrasound, especially like we were just talking about in settings without sonographers, especially in settings I would say that are more rural? If you could just touch on that, because point of care ultrasound does allow for the ultrasound to be taken to the person, unlike a lot of other modalities for the most part.
Right. So you can't yet take an MRI in your pocket. Perhaps the time will come, but not yet. So I think point of care ultrasound is a revolution because the devices are becoming so good and so small and some of them pocketable. You can really look inside the body, and the we know that about 60 to 70% of pathologies can be evaluated by ultrasound. So that's
Mm.
a lot. And that's across our system, right? Across our organ system. And putting this in the hand of various physicians, including family medicine and hospitalists and the ED physician, and obviously but not only the rural areas, right? Because when you're at 2 o'clock at night, even in a big emergency department, you don't have the cardiologist, sonographer, radiologist by your side. You're alone. It's true for the critical care. It's true for the crashing patients on the hospital ward or the ED. And the ability to look inside the body is tremendous. And it's so superior to what we have been doing so far, which is using our hands, our ears, and and that's not good enough. And what we were looking at this revolution, we were asking ourselves, why isn't it happening fast enough?
Mhm.
Because the devices are, I think they're out there for more than a decade. And there are different reasons. One of them is image acquisition. And as we alluded earlier, getting good images, knowing what you scan and how to scan it by people that are not expert technicians, not expert sonographer, not expert radiologist or cardiologist. The second big gap is a lot of these images are not even stored, they're disorganized, they're not reported. It's kind of a jungle. And I think the biggest one is, okay, even if I get a decent image, do I know enough? Am I experienced enough? Is my variability good enough for me to interpret this? And this is it's something that worries not only the individual physician, but I think organizations, health networks, hospitals need to think about this. If I want to bill for POCUS and POCUS is billable, I need to be compliant. I need to have a quality program. I need to reduce the variability that's huge within organizations. So some physicians are excellent, and some have way to go. And how do I reduce this and improve the team, my teams, so they can improve patient outcomes and satisfaction? And we know, for example, that using POCUS, you can reduce the work-off of dyspnea, shortness of breath, which is such a common presenting symptoms. You can reduce it by the factor of 10.
Wow.
Which is huge. Because you can do what needs to be done. You can make the clinical decisions so much faster, and some of them are life-saving. But in order to do this, we need people to be well-trained, know how to use POCUS, how to interpret POCUS, and sometimes the physician will not be the one taking perhaps the images, but still interpreting one. And that's a big challenge, and this is what we are focusing on at AISAP.
If you are high-level disinfecting your ultrasound transducer, it's likely you're soaking the probe or using an automated HLD device. But there's a better option out there. TriStel Old can high-level disinfect your transducer in just 2 minutes and costs under $3 per cycle. Sound too good to be true? Request a brochure today and learn why so many practices are switching over to TriStel Old. Visit us.edm-imaging.com/TriStel. That's TRISTEL. And now, back to the show. Right. Which leads me into my next question about the things you all are working on at AISAP, because I know, like I mentioned in the introduction, AISAP truly is right at the center of this AI and ultrasound revolution. And so could you share a little about the POCAD platform? How does that platform seek to enhance the diagnostic process? for cardiac care? And how does it integrate into the existing workflows that clinicians have?
Gladly. So POCAD stands for Point of Care Assisted Diagnosis, saying exactly that. We want to be at the point of care for the physicians that are non-experts. We want to assist them, regardless if you're using a handheld or a cart, regardless of the vendor, regardless of the clinical scenario. It might be an outpatient situation. It might be on a cruise ship. It might be in a busy inner city emergency department or critical care. And what drove us really is the gaps that I mentioned earlier. So how do we use educational tools to assist physicians to acquire better images?
Mm.
And then once they acquire images, how do we empower these physicians that are not imaging experts? How do we empower them with AI to improve their diagnostic performance? And we used a very, very large database of over 150,000 patients. So that translates into billions of frames, fully annotated and fully with diagnosis, in order to train innovative AI algorithms that can receive a short exam from inexpensive devices. So we're specifically designed ASAP to deal with images that are obtained by non-experts with inexpensive devices. And this is it's a different state of mind than creating an AI platform or a company that aids cardiologists such as us. There are different systems, different clinical questions. The quality of the images are very different, and it's a different game. So creating a company that's aimed for the focus revolution was the thing that we decided would have huge impact, because point of care will be everywhere. And it's now beginning to be a residency requirement for family physician in the United States. It already is for critical care and emergency medicine. So this will really be, as we like to say, the next tricorder, where Dr. McCoy scans a patient from head to toe, and you have a diagnosis assistance, and you can immediately manage the patient. And we've done multiple prospective, multi-centered, multinational studies and obtained, I think, proud to say, a groundbreaking FDA with 12 modules that run in parallel and are able to provide diagnosis for the major cardiac findings after a 4 or 5 minute scan, relatively a basic scan that you don't need to be an expert to do it. And we have shown that we are as accurate as our core lab, which was the Mass General core lab, as accurate as the core lab in our measurements. And importantly, we also have computer-assisted diagnosis, where we're not just measuring, we're actually assisting the diagnosis of all the major valve pathology, which is a huge issue, because we're able to assist the diagnosis of heart failure, but also of valve disease. And these are the two big problems in cardiology beyond coronary disease, which of course is a major cause of heart failure.
Right. Wow. And so just to understand a little more and unpack that, for now, at this time, the POCAD platform is only for cardiac care
So currently our
patients, right? Now, in terms of compliance, because you mentioned compliance, and there's a lot of, we've even had episodes on quality standards and compliance before, and that is a concern that I've heard before. We can't trust the AI. How could we trust the AI? How have you all handled that sort of challenge to the adoption, or that hurdle, or overcome those objections from systems or administrators, perhaps even clinicians that say, I don't trust it?
So I think that it's evidence, right? You have to show evidence.
Right.
We're not, so no one's perfect. Physicians are not perfect and will have errors, both false positive, false negative, and the AI will never be perfect. That's why you combine physicians with AI, and we don't use a standalone AI system. I think what the FDA required us to do it's the right thing to demonstrate. We had to show that physicians with AI perform significantly better than the same physicians reviewing the same images without AI. And this in a multi-centered, multinational study with a study design that's called multi-case, multi-reader study. And we had different types of readers, all of them non-experts, from emergency department, from critical care, from hospitalists, family physicians, internists, and we demonstrated that these physicians, together with AI, perform significantly better. And I think that's the goal.
Right.
Additionally, what we are already have shown in other studies is that, and this is very important, and I think you alluded to this, we need to show clinical benefit. It's not enough to show performance. Performance can be very good, but what happens when you unleash this into a clinical world? So we've done this in a number of both sites in Israel and the United States, and we've demonstrated that, first of all, pathologies are quite common and quite commonly missed if you use only a stethoscope.
Right.
And then when you have POCUS with AI, we demonstrated that about 30%, 30 to 40% of the cases, the management changes. And this is the most important thing, that because of this new information that you detected heart failure or right ventricular failure or an unknown mitral regurgitation or aortic stenosis, you change the management. You bring in new consult, you hospitalize instead of discharge, you have better placement because you know there's a significant valve disease and this patient does not have COPD, and you know that the different management has to take place. And all of these things are very, very impactful, up to patients that we scanned and underwent a procedure that was, the initial evaluation started very early because of the POCUS and could have been delayed or even missed if we were not using point-of-care ultrasound.
Right. No, I mean, I think that proves your point that that is the evidence of how it can enhance patient care, right? The timeliness, the catching of pathologies that perhaps wouldn't be catched due to just human error or human oversight. True, the combination is very powerful. I think that's a great way of overcoming that challenge. Now, outside of cardiac care, do you envision similar applications for point of care ultrasound in other specialties and other clinical settings? I'm assuming that you do, and that probably AISAP is thinking about this already.
Right. The vision from the start was to be the tricorder. So definitely we want to be there wherever a non-expert scans anything that's scannable by ultrasound.
Right.
So I think that once we understand how to overcome with AI, and not only AI, but also through education, through tracking of compliance. So one of the things we provide our users is the ability to know exactly who scanned, what was the quality of each scan, because we automatically create a quality score for each scan and for each view. And the more people will scan, there's a learning curve. True for any medical procedure. The more the people will scan, the more confidence, the more impact, then the physician scanning, more organs will increase, because you always remember your big successes.
Right.
The fact that you saved a life using POCUS gives you so much more confidence and drive. And especially for physicians, you know, they are at the forefronts, right, of critical care, of emergency department. The ability to jump from one organ system to the other is huge in medicine. Because think of the example that I just gave, you know, dyspnea. It could be lung focus would be very important, as well as cardiac. And for an abdominal pain, you want to know something about the gallbladder or perhaps the kidney, but also the aorta. So having this under one platform, and this is what we aim, one platform to assist all POCAD and all organs, it makes sense in medicine, because medicine is not always organ-based, right? It's symptoms-based or syndrome-based, where you need to scan multiple systems in the same session, in the same ED.
Exactly, exactly. Now, a follow-up to this whole discussion is you're very involved in research in the medical community and on an international level. So moving kind of outside of the FDA and the regulatory side, on an international level, do you think that the international medical community is at the same speed as AI is advancing, or do you think there's still some sort of lag and a lot of education that has to be and awareness that has to be raised in the medical community on a global scale?
So I think medicine is conservative, and I think we're moving slower, but it's not always a bad thing. Being conservative for a reason is it's okay. Just saying I don't want to be there because I'm fearful of AI, that's not the argument. But
Right.
I think we should view AI as we view a medical device, as we view an antibiotic, right? And you won't put that antibiotic into the market without showing that there is a significant clinical impact on safety, on performance, and I think this is what we need to do. And we have here a huge challenge because AI, when you unleash AI, it has a huge impact across the system, right? You'll have tools in every domain: dermatology, gastroenterology, cardiology, neurology, everything, and on multiple processes, right? Not only diagnostics and reporting and history taking and summarization and all that. And I think we feel the responsibility as physicians and scientists to only bring in the devices that are safe and effective, and it's difficult. I think even for the regulatory bodies, they're looking at it from sometimes from a lab-like perspective. How is he performing, but not always looking at real-world impact of these tools. What's the impact when I unleash this in different types of hospitals, in nursing homes, in community care? Healthcare systems are very different. Physicians are different. So I think the main thing we need frameworks on how to evaluate AI, not only at the FDA level, but also at the organizational and levels and hospital level, and even individual level. What am I using? What is it good for, and when should I be fearful or skeptic or not blindly rely on everything that the AI outputs?
Right. That makes sense. And we actually had a guest not too long ago, Dr. Michael Blythus, who's also very involved in AI in medicine. He mentioned something similar as I think you were alluding to, that we need to have critics and then we have to have the supporters, right? So that we reach a happy balance. We can't just completely go for it, but then we also can't completely resist it. And I think that is the general idea, right? Is that the position should be somewhere in the middle where we go adopting it, but adopting it with caution, right? So as to not risk patient care.
Right. Not only caution, I think we always should be skeptics and caution. That's part of science. But
Right.
I think importantly, we need to be evidence-based. When you're asking, am I confident in a certain module that I have? I need to show you the evidence. I need to show you that in valve disease, for example, in our AISAP product, we have 93% sensitivity and specificity in a multi-case, multi-center study regulated by the FDA, which is under rigorous standards, peer-reviewed, published soon. And if I don't have this, you should be skeptical, and you should, and it's okay to also ask, how will this perform in different types of clinical scenarios, different type of physician, different type of specialties? And I need to show you the evidence on patient outcomes, not only performance. I need to show you that this is good. Timely diagnosis is achieved, management is changed, patient satisfaction is up, and hopefully our satisfaction as physicians should also go up with AI.
Yeah, exactly. So, a last question now as we're wrapping up. What impact, I feel like you've already talked about impact, but what impact do you think that AI driven diagnostic platforms are going to have on patient care, on clinician workflows, and just overall healthcare over the next decade? So, looking more in the long term, what is the vision that you have, the vision that ASAP perhaps has? In terms of what these applications could do more than just like the now, what do you have in mind?
So hopefully, I think these applications have to gradually reach the hands of the patient, of the physicians treating most of the patients, which is the primary care, the family physicians, the internist, hospitalists, where having these types of imaging could greatly reduce time to diagnosis, and in a situation where patients are not really getting image-based diagnosis and things are missed. And early detection, I think it's critical. Um, I think we will see a lot of imaging, not only in managing patients that come with a complaint, with a symptom, but also imaging will have more and more of a place in screening, because AI will reduce the cost of screening. And a family physician or an executive screening program or an employee screening program, they will be able to do different types of analysis on different types of organs, and you'll be able to predict elements like pathology, like organ age, like likelihood of events, and this would better tailor the very important preventive medicine, which we are failing at. We're not doing enough. We're reactive. So I think imaging will have great aspects, and I'm very hopeful that will have a lot of impact both on prevention, but also on early rapid management, adequate management, and reduce the huge disparity, right? We have a huge disparity. And that's not only in the Israel or the US, that's across any country almost. And having these devices, the prices will be reaching $1,000 per device. Pocketable devices will greatly enhance the affordability and the availability of these devices. But we need to make the devices smart. And this is, I think, AI brings the intelligence into the device to assist the non-expert.
Exactly. No, I think that you really touched on a lot of key points. I think even the pocket-sized devices that's a whole other topic. We could spend the whole episode talking about just how incredible it is that ultrasound really is reaching such heights in terms of its availability, right? And it's the format it comes in. And AI truly is playing, I think, a very important role in diagnostic imaging, and especially in ultrasound imaging to advance it. I think the work that you're doing is evidence of that. The platform that ASAP has created is also evidence of that. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? There's still a lot more to be done, and that's in development, I'm sure, and that's going to come out soon. So thank you again, Dr. Klempfner, just for this great episode, all the great insights that you brought. You have a wealth of knowledge, and I think that this is of great value to the physicians listening and also to the sonographers and other ultrasound users who might be listening, just so that they can learn more about what's going on in AI and what companies such as AISAP are doing in the industry.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Scoop on Ultrasound. Subscribe today to be notified when new episodes are released, and visit our website, us.edm-imaging.com, to learn more about who we are and what we do.